Whoop, 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 whoop.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Nurse Mark and the Green Nurse Daily Dose of AFA,
where we bring you hope and inspiration for growth and healing so you can start your day off the AFA way. And in case you have forgotten, we are here to remind you, and Mark wrote a book.
How do you know? I wrote the book so that it will remind you. I'm one of those people that, when I have a book and I like it, I reread it over and over again. Like once a year, I'll pull out Conversations with God and I'll read it again and I'll underline, I'll do it. Like there's always hidden gems. There's a lot of hidden gems in that book because it's a compilation of all of the things that I've done over the last 35, 40 years in self-help because I had to, lifelong depression and mood disorder. I had to do these things in order to even survive in the world. Medications didn't work. Therapy helped, but I had to cobble together this. And that's what the book's about, getting to the root of who you are. And you all are absolutely amazing. Every single one of you, without exception, no matter what you think or anybody else thinks, the truth of the matter is you're absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And so the mantra, one of the mantras we like to start off with is I am AFA. Yes. I remember that I am love and I am light and I'm bringing in change by how I am being first.
Yes.
You got to be it first and then the doing comes, right? Being.
Oh, listen, I'm a human being, not a human doing.
Doing, exactly.
Get caught up in the human doing, right? And it's think that what they're doing is who they really are. I've done so many different things in my life. I'm not any one of those things. Like somebody says, so tell me a little about yourself. I'm like, oh my God, where do I start? Right? As you too. It's like, where do you start? Let me tell you about myself. Well, I'm love and action. And then people are like, oh, he's a woo-woo. He's one of those.
Me too. I love it.
Guess what? I'm love and action. I stated it in the universe. I've been that. That's who I am being most times. Occasionally when I'm on the road and driving in Massachusetts, I'm not so much, love and action. I'm a masshole completely. I'm
an asshole, right? So here's another one.
My ways of being, you know what I'm saying?
So you can hear it as you can shift it. I live in Mass, but I am a divine expression of creative love. So that mass wholeness in me when I'm driving, doesn't really mean I'm an asshole. It means that I'm creating I'm just expressing my humanness.
That's right. That's right. That's just a pattern that was laid down a long time ago, and we just use it, right? So we go throughout our lives being, right? So at different times in our lives, we're being different things. Like when I was raising my kids and I was in my 30s and I was a different person. I was a different way of being. But at the root, at the base of who you are absolutely fucking amazing. That is it. You are going to go through multiple phases of being different ways. Yeah. That's not the real you. That's just a way of being. So you can shift your way of being anytime you want.
Anytime.
That's what we talk about. That's why
we're here.
Love. And you have some things you want to share this morning. Share. So where do you want to start?
Let's start with the daily love. The reason, because we always start with the daily love. And I just have a sneaky suspicion because we are coherent and in sync that what your daily love is going to kind of tie into some of what I learned this morning.
It always does, doesn't it? It's the wackiest thing. And we're in synchronicity and we don't, compare notes before the show. We just sometimes I just roll right out of bed and I do the daily love and then boom, I'm on the show. Oh my God. Sometimes last minute I'm clicking send. Oh, by the way, good morning, everybody. Oh my gosh. So good to see you here this morning.
Jack,
happy Thursday, May 6th. Exciting. Woo-hoo.
The only May 6th we're ever going to have in 2021.
The only one.
The only one.
Oh, I got to do something big today.
Me too.
Oh, yeah, I do. I have to just do something. I have to celebrate this day. Now, yesterday was Cinco de Mayo, and normally I would celebrate Cinco de Mayo with some margaritas or some tequila, but I was just so darn busy. I didn't get a chance to celebrate it. But, you know, we can celebrate it today.
We can celebrate it today with our cup of tea. Here it is.
Yeah.
Tea time. Cinco de Mayo.
Tea time. Tea time, Sherry. Have a little sip.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate. All right, here we go. The Daily Love comes from You Are What You Think by Dr. Wayne Dyer. God, you know, I just love these folks. All right, so here it is. In childhood, repetition was something you most likely used to reinforce things you were mastering. You can probably recall insisting on someone reading and rereading a book or story until you knew it by heart. I know I did. I know my kids did it to me. In that spirit, repeat this affirmation over and over till you have it solidified, and move it from your subconscious habitual mind to the forefront of your conscious mind. Here it is. Here's the affirmation. I let go of old ways of thinking and I access awareness.
Ooh, yes.
Now you got a note. You got a note, Cher. You got the here are the pertinent things that I pulled out. First, you have to move something from your subconscious habitual mind to your conscious mind. Now we think our conscious mind generates reality. You know, we think with our conscious mind, and we think that's what rules the day. The truth of the matter is your subconscious habitual mind is in play 90% of the time. It's just ruling the roost. And we don't even think that that's the case, but it is. So moving from subconscious to conscious, that's the key. So how do you do it?
So the affirmation again is I let go of old ways of thinking.
Yes.
To create awareness.
I access awareness. Yeah.
I access awareness to create and access awareness.
Gary, that's the second point. Wayne doesn't say I let go of old ways of thinking and embrace new ways of thinking.
No.
He says I access awareness, because awareness is the key to a new life. You can change your entire life by accessing awareness, because when you're aware of what's going on with your thinking, when you have that awareness, you have choice. Without awareness, you don't have a choice in the matter. You will just be that automated robot.
Yep. Oh yeah, that automated robot that we talk about, how we wake up every day and we do the same thing.
Yeah. Right? Tell me about your morning, Sherry. I know you didn't just do the regular old standard Sherry routine today.
Well, I'm going to just tell you why. I just felt really challenged to create a different space. I wanted to create a different way of being when I wake up in the morning, because for a while, I've been doing the same thing over and over and just, feeling tired quicker. So it's just because it's routine. I haven't been doing all the things I needed to do to take care of myself. So what did I do yesterday? Yesterday was fun. Yesterday, I took a bath at 6 a.m., got in there.
Why not? What a great way to start the day.
Breath work. It was amazing. I had a ton of energy and the day was productive. Yeah. So today I was like, what can I do different? Now, let me just tell you something. I am not a morning person. However, that was the old story, that old tape.
My God, that's such an old story. How long have we been partners? We've been partners now for a while. I am telling you, you are one of the best morning people that I know. And yet every morning you say, I'm not really a morning person. Oh my God, you so are a morning person. Like,
so now
you're so energized. You're so like, you greet the day. Go ahead. Sorry.
But this is the reason why it's just goes along exactly to that same awareness of choice, letting go of old ways of thinking, because that pattern was created when I was sick, suffering in bed with chronic debilitating illness. Every morning sucked. So that pattern, so that pattern, so every morning it's really having a conscious decision. I now have the awareness that, yes, my mornings aren't horrible anymore. So I need to change that dialogue, and how to change that dialogue isn't only a way of being, but doing something different. So the awareness helps me to create another way of being. And in order for me to be that, I got to do something different.
Yeah.
So what I did differently this morning, the alarm went off at 5. I put on my headset, did a meditation, put my little Healy energy machine on, and I sat there for a little bit. And then I brought out some of my books to read. I never read at 6 o'clock in the morning. And so I was reading. I did. I read The Light Shall Set You Free and The Sophia Code just for like 20 minutes, just a chapter from each one. And really what came into me as I was reading this was how we can see ourselves with the eyes of love. And what came to me was self-care of the body. So when we talk about the endocannabinoid system, it's mind, body, spirit. And so it was really getting back to, wow, how do I care for my body? How am I caring for the vessel that houses my mental, emotional, spiritual self? Right. So having that awareness, it's self-love. It's the beginning of true self-love. It's honoring and accepting your human self exactly as it is from that place of awareness.
Starting point. Right, Sherry. That's the starting point. If you know what, oh my gosh, this is a huge thing. Like if you're sad and you're not happy with the way you look, like you have extra weight on, realize that's not you. There's no fault and blame about how that happened. It's very easy. It's easy to understand. Either you have a physical condition that metabolism isn't operating efficiently, which probably endocannabinoid system related, right? Which cannabis can help. Maybe you don't exercise enough. Maybe you eat the wrong foods. None of that is a blame game. It's just fact. It's just, this is how this happens. And you put on extra weight. Your body just does that. Right. When you get to the root of you love yourself exactly like that, that's a jumping off point to start using different habits. And that's what you did this morning, a different thing.
Yes. And here's the other thing too. So here's another example, an analogy. So I just got the news that I have osteoporosis, right? So am I going to beat myself up? I've got, porous bones are a little bit weak. So now I have the awareness.
It's terrible. Why did you ever do that to yourself?
So, but here it is.
Why did you choose osteoporosis, Sherry?
But here's the thing that's interesting. What was going on in the back of my mind was I'm not eating right. I'm not exercising. So all of these different things. And what I didn't take into account was that I was on steroids for 2 years.
Yes.
So here it is.
Leaching your bones.
Leaching my bones. So, the awareness now that I have this is I need to take care of my body, my vessel, exactly as it is. So when you make it a goal to create a better relationship with your body, right? You're learning to have healthier relationships with others that you come in contact with, right? Think about it. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I love it.
So are you going to exercise today?
I am. Can I tell you? I actually have. I've got my yoga pants on down below. I have this on, and I have a t-shirt on underneath. So I'm just going to whip it off.
Listen, I'm giving a shout out to my friends out at Fit Town. So down here in Jupiter, Florida, Fit Town is the best CrossFit gym in the area. They are amazing, and I will go there today at noon and feel like I'm going to, $1,000,000. Why do I do this for about an hour? And then at the end, I'm going to feel like this is why I do it.
Exactly. I'm thinking bones. I have healthy bones.
Healthy bones, baby.
Right. So the weight bearing exercise, the yoga, I've got little hand weights. I'm going to take that hour of power, again, this afternoon, did one thing this morning, doing something different, right? Having that healthy relationship with the one body that you have. It's it. You only get one in this lifetime.
The greatest love story that you could ever create is the one that you have with yourself. That's the epic love story that you should be looking for in this life. Yes. We always look at the external and say, if I only had that epic love story. Well, I do. But if you have that, the only reason I do is because I have first and foremost an epic love story with myself. I love myself. I really, really do. And if you just heard, wow, he's really full of himself.
Yes, I am.
Read my book. I am full of myself. Read my book, and you should get full of yourself because you're absolutely amazing too.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, Sherry.
So one last thing. Before we get into the Throwback story.
Yeah.
So I have a reading. So I've been reading this really cool book. It's about consciousness. It's about divine feminine wisdom. And this book was written by a woman, which is just really interesting. So I opened up randomly and I was like, what do I need?
Don't write books or?
Well, no, because here it is. This is a book. So usually,
I'm kidding.
I know, but this is really cool though. This is really, really cool concept for me, like studying and reading all of these spiritual books and all of these self-help, positive, metaphysical, conscious books. Is that all of the divine feminine writings have come from men? Okay, so think about that.
Yeah.
So this was channeled. This information, the Sophia Code, was channeled to a woman. And her story is really amazing. We'll get into the book later, but I want to read to you what opened up. It's about acceptance. This is the part that's so interesting, right? It's about accessing awareness and acceptance. So here it is. I accept that I hold the golden keys to my heaven on earth. I accept that I create my reality by the power of my word. My word is good. My heart is pure. By the loving power of my pure word, I wholly accept the sovereign divinity of my humanity now. Boom. It's exactly what we just talked about.
We talk about it every day.
Yeah, I love it.
You
it's just fun.
All right.
Lights me up.
Here we go. All right. Rolling
history.
in.
History.
Hey, love the post, by the way. Denise, absolutely. She just posted up a song that we can all dance to later.
Oh, good.
Dancing is so much fun.
It is. Journey dancing.
Yeah.
So Denise does journey dancing, and we're going to be having her journey dance.
I hope she's coming to the Green Nurse event down on the farm.
June 12th. Put it on your calendar.
Yeah. June 12th. We're having a shindig down on the farm. It's going to be yoga and meditation. And Denise, I hope there's going to be dancing. Yeah.
Yes, there will be for sure.
More about that.
Yeah.
Throwback Thursday, Sherry. Let's talk about
history.
The first state that ever outlawed cannabis.
Guess what that state was? Guess what was the state? Can y'all just think about that? What was the first state to criminalize cannabis in the 1900s?
It was Massachusetts.
Do you believe it?
It was Massachusetts. Massachusetts was the first state to criminalize marijuana in the 1900s. Yes.
Interesting.
Kind of funny, Well, we have a lot of claims to fame. We used to hang people because they were witches, and then we decided that probably wasn't true anymore. So we decided to stop that. And then we moved on to other things like prohibiting cannabis. So a long history. But you know what, Sherry, as we'll discuss, Massachusetts has come a long way, baby.
They have. And we are a big pro-cannabis state, which is just AFA.
And I want a pretty solid medical program, right?
Absolutely. Very solid. And the part that I want to thank those out in the grassroots community, those that have been paving the way for years, that have created these communities of healing and have been caregivers to so many people. Because I'm telling you, if it wasn't for your persistence, your activism, and your advocacy, I probably wouldn't be here today.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And so in 2008, Massachusetts decriminalized the possession of small amounts of cannabis. So it was written that the Massachusetts Sensible Marijuana.
Heard it here first, folks. We're changing marijuana to marijuana because I want some marijuana.
I want it. That's a good hashtag.
Marijuana. Marijuana, get high. Yeah. High, hope, inspiration, growth, and healing. Okay.
Now I got to keep a straight face.
Yeah.
So Massachusetts Sensible Marijuana Policy Initiative made it possible to have up to an ounce of cannabis without it affecting the possessor's legal record. So if caught, the punishment could have been a $100 fine. Compare that to the law before passed, when the same offense was punishable by a stiff sentence of 6 months in jail plus a fine of $500. So 2008 was the start,
Right. And then in 2012,
question three
on the referendum, 63% of voters approved of medical cannabis in Massachusetts. That's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
So
is pretty
medical
good.
cannabis became legal. It was the 18th state to legalize medical cannabis. And with its passage, medical marijuana patients could purchase medical cannabis after being diagnosed with a qualifying medical condition by a certified doctor and registering to get a state-issued medical marijuana card.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is I totally remember when question 3 passed and I had no idea. I had no clue. So question 3, the medical cannabis in Massachusetts in 2012 is when I took a hit and ended up sick and suffering for a while. Right. And so, and I never knew about this. I
I
knew
never
about it.
knew. I think I probably voted for it.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
voted for it,
I'm
but I
cannabis.
didn't know
I was
why.
cannabis agnostic at that point. I didn't really, I didn't care if you used it, but I'd never used it. So I was like,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, I don't think people should, be put in jail for this because I used a ton of it when I was an adolescent.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and so, hey, by the way, it doesn't mess with your intellect. At least it didn't with mine. That's a myth. Okay.
It's a myth.
So yeah. So I don't remember even it being there, but wow. So 2012 it passed.
Passed,
And
but it took a
but
while for things to
Mhm.
start moving. So you got to figure,
Right.
we want things to happen now, but the opening of the medical marijuana dispensaries in Massachusetts took a while and much longer than expected. Right. And so what happened? All of these frustrated registered patients were forced to purchase cannabis from illegal sources while they waited for
Yeah.
licensed medical dispensaries to open their doors.
Right.
Right.
And it
And
took
so,
how
and
long? It took
I
another 3 years, right?
it took, yeah, 2015, right? So
Mhm.
4 medical dispensaries finally opened in Massachusetts by the end of 2015.
Mhm.
That's a long time. That's a long time to give people the freedom to
Yeah.
purchase medically and then to have nowhere for them to
I
go.
bet you I
Right.
bet that if we looked at all the states, the 30 plus states that are now legal, that on average it takes 2+ years in order for
Yeah.
them to get their shit together and really actually do something. Because the problem is that each state goes through the process of figuring out how to create their program. Now,
Yeah.
there are some good programs out there and there are some awful programs out there. And, that lack of continuity is just somewhat ridiculous, wouldn't you say?
Right. Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
So back
totally.
to Massachusetts, took them 3 years. They finally
Yep.
got 2015, and they rolled it out. But then we come to 2016.
I
Push
remember this.
number
So this
4.
this is
Oh,
so
I
cool
remember
because
this.
this was part of my journey when I was already into the medical cannabis.
Uh-huh.
So I was already figuring out how to make it work for me. At that
Yep.
point in time,
Yep.
I pretty much figured it out. And
Mhm.
then I was dabbling into cannabis wellness. And then really, the recreational adult use cannabis is amazing because
Yeah.
it became legal in 2016. That was question 4. And
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
celebrating. I remember watching the TV. I
Yeah.
remember,
Yeah.
you
Guess
know,
what, Sherry? I
you know,
was a member of the governor's council against that referendum.
you were?
I
Where's Mark?
was. Yeah, oh yeah, I was meeting with Charlie Baker as member of the American Nurses Association Mass chapter. We were part of Governor Baker's coalition to stop that marijuana. And given the information, again, I was
That you had.
agnostic. I was agnostic, but I said, well, okay, well, this kind of makes sense. We don't want to go, willy-nilly and let everybody just go out there and get stoned and blah, blah, blah. So I had a belief, but thank God I don't, for some reason, maybe it was cannabis that altered my brain way back when I was an adolescent. I don't suffer much from cognitive dissonance, which is, again, if you have a firmly held belief, it's a very well-known psychological phenomenon for human beings.
Yeah.
If you have a firmly held belief, no matter how much evidence you are given by somebody else, you will find it so difficult to change that opinion that you have that this
Perception.
is true, right?
Right.
I don't
Yep.
suffer from that. So once I was introduced to the
Education.
evidence, saw the studies, started to hear the anecdotal evidence from patients, I was easily changed from opposing it to
Right.
supporting it wholeheartedly. And so, yeah, so it was a great day in 2016. But again, when did the first dispensary in Massachusetts open? Not in 2016.
Nope. So the first adult use dispensary, it took 2 years for the first recreational dispensary to finally open their doors. And it was basically had to do with complicated licensing processes, right? So you have to think about, you know, they're creating something. We're in, it's a brand new world of weed. Right? Yeah. So we're, you know, none of this has ever been done. Now other states have done it. And so, you know, we're creating something new, and everyone has a say. Everyone's got an opinion. Everyone wants it their way, and bringing the minds together to agree takes time. So what I thought was really, really cool, I love this, was the very first sale of recreational cannabis in Massachusetts was also the very first sale on the East Coast. So this is a good one. I love this little history.
And we're the first to have the public sale of an adult use product.
Yeah. So there you go. That's history right there. Here's the other cool thing too, is I really loved the first person to purchase was a veteran. So in November 20th, 2018, a veteran of the Iraq War made his first historic purchase at Cultivate Dispensary in Leicester, Massachusetts. So it's one of the first 2 adult use dispensaries to open in the state. And when he was asked what he bought, he said that one of his purchases was a pre-rolled joint that he would save for the Smithsonian.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Yeah. So here we are, 2021, baby. Yeah. You know, it's not like we haven't had some issues.
No,
you know, there's some hiccups in the program. You know, some of the
both programs.
Yeah, in both.
But they're getting better.
They are getting better. And you know, some of the issue. Well, let's just talk about how much money since November 2018, Sherry. We've grossed $1.45 billion. That's Massachusetts. Wow. Okay,
that's a lot.
That's a lot of medicine being dispensed, whether it's
1.45 billion. So 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. So really almost, you know, just like about 3.5 years, 1.45 billion. That's amazing. So what did that generate?
And I don't know about you. I don't see a rash of traffic accidents, and I don't see people hanging out on the street, lying down.
I see people getting healthier.
Although, you know, I did, you know, for quite a long time when I drive into Boston, I would drive this particular road into Boston Medical Center, and I would see a lot of opioid addicts lining the streets, unfortunately, because, you know, we haven't addressed that issue with using cannabis, by the way, would help.
Right. Oh my God, whatever.
But anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole. So it's generated $90 million in sales tax alone for the state.
For the state.
Right.
That's a lot.
You know, of course, where does that money go? It doesn't go into, you know, helping the communities that have suffered through all of this prohibition activity. The war on drugs has really just been a war on people.
I agree.
Yeah, and
totally,
and we'll have a whole show about that because
we will.
You know, Throwback Thursday. You're gonna continually hear some stuff that's not gonna make you feel great.
Yeah.
But you know what? We got to talk about it. We got to recognize it because it's where we came from, and actually still in play today. So we can do better, and
we can do better.
We will talk about that, right, Cher?
Yeah.
Yep.
So in Massachusetts, you know, every state is different. We talk about that because we're particularly speaking about Massachusetts. So one of the biggest hurdles in Massachusetts for businesses was raising capital, right? So think about this. It takes an estimated $500,000 just to begin the process.
Just to get started. That's not even talking about building out your dispensary or building out your grow facility and your extraction facility, which is another minimum $2 million.
Right. There you go. I know.
Right?
It's expensive. It's expensive.
Right.
And so then what are the other hurdles, Mark? You know, here's
a big one. Finding a municipality that's going to host you, a host community agreement. Now, these are just bullshit, okay? So a community can say, oh, no, you can't have that business here. It's, you know, it's like, it's like strip clubs back in the day, right? Every community would have to vote and say, can somebody get naked in this community or not? So it's like
That's a good analogy.
Like,
it's a really good analogy.
Because you know the communities that have the strip clubs in them, and so they're the ones that it's an issue in itself, right? So the host community agreements are just a way for the community to stop a dispensary from being in their community. Now listen, anytime you give somebody locally a little bit of power, some bad things are going to happen. So host community agreements were all over the place. They were slated they could charge 3% on sales, right?
Yeah.
And that would be the host community agreement. Communities charge whatever they want. And it got so bad that in the community of Fall River, Massachusetts, the mayor was prosecuted and went to jail because his host community agreement included, give me a couple of $100 in my pocket.
There you go.
Because he was in control and power. So that's what happens, right? So there are some flaws in the system, and the host community agreements are one of them. So what have they done, Sherry? Have they done anything about it?
Well, basically, the Massachusetts Cannabis Reform Coalition and the Massachusetts Grower Advisory Council study found that 79% of the state's host community agreements required payments exceeding the 3% limit. So that's what you said. They also reported that they found many deals that called for voluntary donations from third-party charities.
Right. The third-party charity, like the Mark Worcester wants to go on vacation fund. Yeah, that's one that you would donate to if you wanted to have it in my town.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Grower Advisory Council petitioned the courts asking that the Cannabis Control Commission be giving authority over the agreements instead of the cities and towns.
Right.
Right. So what's going on now with Massachusetts towns and cities?
Well, they have the right to any fee they impose, where it is cannabis or cable TV supplier. They have the authority to negotiate on behalf of the public interest, not the private interest. And, some towns are working it on their own.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, we're evolving, and there are great people in the community. Big shout out to a lot of people in the community that are, showing up, writing letters, participating in all of the Cannabis Control Commission meetings, to try to make it better for all people with whatever way they decide to use it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You know what? And you know what, Sherry, in a future show, maybe we'll go over all of the, the details of the Massachusetts cannabis program, and we'll compare it to some of the other states that we know and we operate in, just so people can get a sense of, the disparity between program to program. And then we can talk about, holy cow, you have a medical program that's really, really stringent and limits people their access to their medicine. And then they pass a recreational adult use referendum that just says anybody can get anything you want.
Yeah. Yep.
But anyway, that's Throwback Thursday, right?
That's Throwback Thursday. What we can do is, like you said, we'll cover this next week. We'll talk about the laws for selling adult use cannabis in Massachusetts. What are the medical rules in Massachusetts?
Yeah.
We can maybe cover that on Monday. That's part of the Hugs and Nugs, and just giving you all information as to what the laws are. We talked about this last night on our show with Barbara Ochester. The big question I asked her, it was one of the questions I wanted to hear her perspective is legal cannabis really legal?
No, it's not.
Right. So
we're still in prohibition, folks. We're still in prohibition. But you know what? We're here to move the needle. And the only way we get the needle moved is if we convince the white men in power, because it's still that way, that it's a good idea for this thing to change.
Yeah.
It's the only way it's going to be done. And how do we do that? With compassion, kindness, understanding, and evidence. And we have a lot of evidence.
And to keep talking about it. So this segment was pretty long. So we're going to cut it in half. We're going to continue with Massachusetts history and what's going on.
Oh yeah.
Next week.
Sherry's an overachiever, and she just goes way out on a limb and creates a show that's 5 hours long, which I love because God, her your content is so amazing.
It's really fun.
It really
It's
is,
fun to
Sherry. And, you
create.
know, you just put this stuff together. You know, I'm not necessarily so detail oriented, but you nail it every time.
The
So listen, what do we got
overachiever in
going
me.
on for the rest of the week? We, you know, tomorrow we'll be here at 8 a.m. again, right?
Yeah. And then we're going to do the
And
Frequency Friday after. So tomorrow's
yeah,
Friday. So 8
miss
a.m.
that.
Nurse Mark and the Greens, 9 a.m. Frequency Friday with the Green Nurses and the Green Nurse City, where we're going to bring you hugs and nugs of information on energy healing,
Yeah.
you know, using this Healy microcurrent device. So make sure you join us. The event is listed on the page.
Come on, come on, come on. And
come on,
remember,
come
save the
on.
date, June 12th, down on the
June
farm.
12th.
And it's
Yep.
an amazing farm, folks. This is this is where
it's
I
beautiful.
stay in the summer months, and it is an amazing location. So it's an outdoor
I'll
event.
just describe. Yeah, it's 26-acre farm filled with animals, farm animals. And there's this beautiful pathway that goes to this hill that is huge. It's not like a deep hill. It's like this nice little slanted hill that funnels right into the ocean. So can you imagine a farm on the ocean? It's really, really
it's going to be a great event. So
and we started planning.
Sherry, Thursday, May 6th, 2021. Big things today, Sherry. Big things.
Big things.
I'm having my AFA day already.
I'm having my AFA day too.
I'm accessing
really
awareness, and you know, it's just thank you so much, everybody, for being here
joining us
this morning, for joining us and popping out. You know, comments are amazing. I love the fact that we have this conversation going on with all of you, and thanks for posting up and being here. And Sherry, let me hear
What's it all about? You're going to hear it. You know, really, it's about living your best life, helping others do the same, and decreasing stigma around what it means to feel good and be high. Everyone, stay elevated.
Hey, listen,
we love you.
Everybody be high. Okay.
Be high.
We'll see you tomorrow morning.